So, I really love horror manga, but it's kinda hard to find new ones since every list out there is just Junji Ito works. So, I decided to make a list of horror mangas that are not by Junji Ito. I do want to say I personally read fan translations, but I did sort these by kind of how well known they are. So the first 6 on this list do have official English translation. So yeah, anyways, let's get into it. Number 1, PTSD Radio. This is probably the most well known one. At least I always see that one on any list with horror manga recommendations. So it does not have, right now as I'm making this video, it does not have an official translation, but it is getting one in October of 2022. So yeah, you can read it soon, officially. But PTSD Radio is about a curse and hair. And if you know about Japanese horror, then you probably already know where this is gonna go. But what's really interesting about it is that it starts with like really random chapters and even just pages. And as you start reading, it starts making sense. But yeah, that's really fun about it and kind of disturbing also because you don't know what's even going on. And the art is iconic, I'm sure. Even if you haven't read it, you have probably seen some of these panels before. Number 2 is Blood on the Tracks, another very well-known manga with an official English translation, though I think the original is not finished, so obviously the translation isn't finished yet. But Blood on the Tracks is about a boy and his very overbearing mother who gives off very weird vibes from the start. But then one day our main character goes on a hike with his extended family and his mom ends up pushing his cousin off a cliff. And he's the only one who sees this. And yeah, the story kind of goes from there. It's 100% psychological. There isn't really any supernatural or even gore or anything like that. It's all psychological. And yeah, it's pretty much classic. Again, I see this one a lot. It's very good. But I will say it goes on for very long. Like there's multiple parts in the story where I feel like it could end, but then it just keeps going. And I personally haven't kept up with it since I first read it. Number 3, Dorohedoro. This one has an official translation, of course, and even an anime adaptation. So maybe this one is actually the most well-known one. I don't know. But this one is a horror comedy, which is the only one on this list. And it's about this world with a very unique magic system and this guy with the Kaiman head who has a different guy in his throat. And he's trying to figure out what happened to him, who he is, and who the guy in his throat is. And yeah, it's very gore heavy. The world is really weird and fun. And the art is amazing. And you should absolutely read it, especially if you like comedy. And watch the anime. It's like a CGI anime, but it's good. Number 4 is Happiness. Happiness is about vampires, pretty much. A boy gets turned into a vampire and his life changes a lot as he gets involved with other vampires and vampire hunters and cults. It's very much giving Tokyo Ghoul, at least with the initial turning, like how he first turns into a vampire. So I do think if you like Tokyo Ghoul, you will probably like this. It's really just well written and really satisfying. Like it's a really satisfying story. And it does of course have an official English translation. And it's pretty gory again. There are some really iconic panels that you've probably already seen. Number 5, Dragonhead. This one also has an official English translation again. Now with this one, I personally think only like the first, like 1/4 of the story is really good. But I mean, you can decide that for yourself. But like the good part of the manga for me is this school class is coming back from a school trip and their train crashes while they are in a tunnel, which is terrifying and definitely a big fear for me. And yeah, the train crashes and they're kind of trying to figure out what's going on. They are in a tunnel, so it's dark. And yeah, they do leave the tunnel at some point. And for me, after they leave it, the story kind of goes downhill because it becomes really, really crazy. And yeah, that's not for me, but maybe you like that. I don't know. But yeah, it's still, in my opinion, worth it just for that first part where they're in the tunnel, because that's really creepy, and scary. Number 6, Hideout. I think the official English title is Dark Hideout. I'm a bit confused when I googled it. But this one is a one-shot, so it's only one volume long. It's 9 chapters, I think. And this manga is about a couple that is at the brink of divorce or breaking up. I think they are married. After their child died, they're on a vacation, kind of trying to get back together or whatever. But then our main character, the husband, tries to kill his wife because he blames her for the death of their child. But he fails to kill her and instead ends up in a cave. And the story goes from there. I don't really want to spoil anything else because it's really short, obviously. The art is so amazing. Really, it's one of the best looking horror mangas probably. And there's like a twist at the end that really got me. So yeah, I highly recommend it. And it's super short. So number 7, Gannibal. I don't know. Gannibal, I think. So this manga has an official French translation, but no English one. So that's kind of interesting. And it's also getting a live action adaptation on Disney Plus, which is really weird. I mean, I don't have Disney Plus, but I don't really associate horror with them, but okay. Anyways, the original is still going, and there aren't really that many fan-translated chapters right now. I think the French translation is actually further than the fan translation. So, yeah, anyways, Gannibal is about this cop who moves to a rural village and he's taking over the position of another cop who went insane and disappeared. So that was his predecessor. And the story is basically about the new cop trying to figure out what happened to the previous cop and what is going on with this creepy family. People are saying they are cannibals, as you can probably guess by the title. And yeah, the art is really unique. I've never seen another manga with that kind of art style. And the story is definitely looking interesting. But like I said, there's not that much translated right now, unless you know French. So yeah, could be maybe not so good, but could also be really good. So number 8, Monkey Peak. This is probably my favorite horror manga at the moment. Sadly, it does not have an official translation. The original is completed, but the fan translation isn't completed yet. But there are a lot of chapters that are already finished, and yeah, I'm like 90% sure it will be completed. Anyways, Monkey Peak is about maybe 40 or something co-workers who are going on a team building trip after their company was involved in some kind of scandal. It's like a pharmaceutical company, and they go to hike and camp like at a mountain. And the first night, a really messed up looking monkey comes into their camp and kills like half the people. And yeah, from there on, the manga is pretty much about the survivors trying to outrun the monkey who's chasing them. And the real horror is like them struggling to survive because they have like very, very, very limited resources. None of these people, except like two of them, know how to like climb or like physically fit or anything. And it's cold, and yeah, it's really cool. I really like it. It's very much, a last man standing type of story mixed with the mystery of what the monkeys are and why they are killing them. And yeah, I absolutely love it. I recommend it. Please read it. My personal favorite character recently died, so that sucks. But yeah. Number 9, Kudan no Gotoshi. This one again, no official translation, but it is completed and it has a completed fan translation, so that's always good. Kudan no Gotoshi, it starts with this group of college friends who are like on their way back home from some kind of trip. They're all in a car and then they hit something on the road and they're kind of unsure what it was, but they just kind of leave, hit and run kind of, because they think it's some kind of animal. And it turns out they hit a Kudan, which is a cow with a human face, and they end up getting cursed by it. And the curse is pretty much the Kudan will appear before one of them and telling them when they will die in, the next day or something. And the manga is pretty much about them trying to figure out how to stop the curse. I absolutely love this manga. It's amazing, like a masterpiece to me, but the last few chapters, I don't know, it's probably just 10 chapters, they get really weird and go off the deep end, and I did not like that. But everything else is amazing, so it's still worth it. And number 10, The 100 Ghost Stories of My Own Death. I only recently started reading this, but I'm a really big fan of this. Okay, so no official translation and the original is still going, so, But, so this story has a very classic premise you probably already know. There's like a Japanese myth where if you tell 100 ghost stories, you summon a real ghost. And that's kind of what this is about. So you have this kid who's telling a different ghost story in every chapter. But there is kind of a twist because, first of all, you, the reader, are in the story. Like, you are a character. We don't really know what we are or who we are, but we are definitely in the story, and it's kind of really weird when you realize that. But yeah, so basically the chapter starts with these 4 coma type pages, like 1 or 2 of them, and then it's the actual ghost story, and then you get another few like 4 coma type pages with the kid who's telling the story. So the actual story are those 4 coma pages, and it starts off and you have kind of weird vibes. Something is off. And then, yeah, it gets weird, and I absolutely love it. The art, I will say the art is kind of wonky. It's not that good, but it makes up for it with how unique the story is told. Like, I really love it. If you actually read this, and please do read this, let me know what your theories are, because I'm so into this one. Okay, well, that's it. Those were my 10 horror manga recs that aren't by Junji Ito. And yeah, if anyone actually ends up watching this video, please tell me your recommendations. Again, I have already read everything by Junji Ito, but if you have anything else, let me know, because I'm always looking to read more horror mangas. Bye.